Hello and welcome to another edition of the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show with me, Ian Pelham Turner.
And me, Helena Chard. We've got a great show for you today.
It's going to be incredible. So let's roll the titles and let's get on with the show. Hello and welcome to another show again. So Helena, what's been happening in the royal news this week?
Oh, so much news, but we're bringing it home. I think that's the main thing that's going on at the moment. So we've got Euros 24 on in Germany at the minute, and we've seen a very animated Prince William, which has been so lovely to see. There's been so much jollity. And I think we need James Prince as well to bring in some help with cheering us up in the UK. Do you? With AI, I think. But so great to see William. We're hoping that he's going to be at the match as well on Sunday. And that match is with, is it Italy? Spain.
Yes, Spain.
It's with Spain.
Yep.
And we saw before how he raced from his speech day with his children, jumped on a plane to Düsseldorf. So I'm sure he'll be there. But it's great to see him. Actually, fever's taken over the UK, which is brilliant. Lovely seeing him hugging the football players, Ollie Watkins scoring. But I think another good thing as well, King Charles, he left a little cheeky message of support, saying obviously well done to our team, but to say, you know, please don't leave it right to the last minute to kick these wonder goals in to save our nation's heart rate, which I thought was very sweet. Do love King Charles. But also we're really hoping they are going to bring it home, because there's going to be a huge victory parade, which will be really good fun. It will be like a big open top bus parade, and they'll meet with King Charles as well. It was a bit like the 2012 Olympic parade. Do you remember that one that we attended?
Absolutely.
Which was really good fun. So all good fun. So really fingers crossed for our team. Also, Prince William has gone viral again, which is always good fun. So we saw lots of fans delighting over seeing him whizzing around Windsor on his e-scooter. And he decided that he needed this. He bought it in July 23 and he needed it to get to see King Charles, his father, in a timely manner, which I think is good fun.
Has it got HRH1 on it?
I don't think so, but I just think how cool, actually brilliant. I'd love one, and I do want one. They're about £400 to £500. But I think it's, I don't know, or maybe he should be doing steps. And I wonder whether he's used it to get to the game that he's in today, raising money for charity in Windsor, quite possibly. But good stuff. Also, Prince William, always doing such fabulous things at the moment, and so has the empathy of his mother, the late Princess Diana. He's been doing lots of work with homeless charities, and as we know, when he was younger, Princess Diana took both him and Harry to the Passage, a homeless charity. She was a patron of that, but also Centrepoint, one of the main charities William's a patron of at the moment as well. And from a very young age, he decided that he wanted to do something about homelessness. It was such a lovely thing that Princess Diana did with the children, introduced them to normality, because obviously they were brought up in a different way. But his new initiative is called Homewards, as we know. It's a year old. It's very ambitious. So a 5-year project, and he wants to end homelessness. Now, I don't know whether that's quite right, whether he'll be able to do it, but we're certainly with him on it. But he's going the right way forward. I mean, at the moment, there's going to be property built on the duchy land. And it's a transformative approach that he's working with. This new documentary is going to help as well. In that it's Prince William, We Can End Homelessness. That's the name of it. It's a 2-part series. But it's the whole changing the perception of homelessness, because I think a lot of people don't quite understand it. And it is going to work alongside the Saatchi Gallery and just really help people understand. It's bringing lots of organisations in to help towards it. And I think that's the exciting, transformative approach. Also, Prince Harry, we've been talking about Prince Harry now all week, and this Tillman Award, this Pat Tillman Award, where he has picked up the award we can let you know, the ESPY Awards in LA. Pat Tillman's mother didn't want Prince Harry to have this award, didn't think he was of the right calibre, saying he's divisive and too controversial, and that wanted to really celebrate someone who didn't have as much, someone that works, in the army, etc. But Prince Harry went in, he picked the award up, he did it on behalf of the Invictus Games, all the veterans, and I can see why he's done it. There's a real two-prong attack here. It's because obviously he's gone down the commercial route, and I think that's where the upset lies. But of course, him and Meghan have to work on that route because they're no longer working royals anymore. But so he's picked it up. It was televised by ABC, another reason why they did it. It did run over. I don't know whether you got to see it. It ran over,
no, I didn't.
And it was suddenly cut. Just quickly, King Charles presented Dame Shirley Bassey with a huge honour, and that is the Order of the Companions of Honour for her services to music. And I think she is absolutely fabulous, and obviously she's so worthy of it. And interestingly, there's no more than something like 68 at a time, something like that, people that can be part of this. So good for her, and that's for lengthy, outstanding achievement. And it can be in the arts, science, medicine and government, but this is obviously to music.
Excellent. Well, we've had a huge amount to squeeze into today as well, so we're just about to take a short break now, and then we're going to bring on an AI expert, James Prince. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the second part of the show now, and now we have James Prince, who is an artificial intelligence expert and entrepreneur. James, welcome. Good afternoon to you.
Thank you for having me.
Just give us a little insight into what are the types of things that you do, briefly.
Well, we use generative AI, which means to create information in the form of images, audiobooks, and text for the purposes of solving information-related problems, or to create content for narrative, for fiction or non-fiction.
So you have a PhD in neuroscience, which I find exciting, and also it's this sort of lay term. I don't have a complete understanding with AI and how it sort of merges into normal life, but we sort of want the harmonious relationship, and people are worried about losing jobs, fear of losing jobs, and just wondered if you could give a little pep.
Well, AI is just one of the latest of a wave of technologies that has disrupted our industrial base. I mean, from the rattling Jenny to the advent of the computer and the internet, every successive technology has disrupted the status quo, and we often, by our human nature, tend to view a period of 10 years as an epoch, or that's the new normal. But in reality, if you look back, many brands that existed in the 70s, BASF or ICI or Dunlop, are all gone. So every 10 years, 20 years, a new technology will simply sweep away all that was before them and create a new architecture by which we live and navigate.
How would you describe AI, and how efficient is it, today? Because, as we say, a lot of people are worried about it. I mean, there's talk that the government are going to get rid of 50,000 civil servants and use AI instead. Is that practical?
Well, the first part of your question, what is AI? AI is, to a degree, a glorification of our extension of using technology, information technology, to map the human brain. So, for example, the human brain is consisted of brain cells we call neurons. Now, neurons, to my view, are just transistors. A transistor is something that simply compares an input an expected input versus an observed actual input, and then has an output, if you look at it as a simple model. So a neural network that's deep learning is using a series of artificial transistors or brain cells in various layers to say, well, let's say that I think that Helena likes coffee, so my expectation is Helena likes coffee, but my observations over a period of days, trials, learning efforts, is that Helena does not drink coffee. Therefore, my observed and expected outputs are nullified, and the memory or the learned lesson is changed. So if you look at it that way, at a very simple point, that neural networks and machine learning that underpin AI are relatively straightforward and far, far from the sort of Terminator level fear that sort of naturally passes people with a great deal of imagination. In terms of total displacements of people, for example, Ian, you use the issue of e-government and using artificial intelligence to underpin that. That is a very real potential outcome. But if you look at it from the point of view of growth and capacity to do work, most people would agree, for example, the civil service is inherently limited despite the vast layers of bureaucracy that we have and pay for in most states. The problem is that they have a limited capacity to do work. So, for example, our new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has an enormous backlog of court cases caused by underfunding and coronavirus pandemic lockdowns. So, for example, you could use AI and teach it legal learning models, and then a lot of these sort of low-level cases could be resolved by AI without ever having to go to court.
Gosh.
And that would, say, clear an enormous backlog, for example. Or you could use AI for immigration, so you could use AI to track all arrivals and departures to work out who is and who is not missing in action or in inaction.
So James, so how do you personally apply AI? Whether it's, are there any businesses that you work with that you want to talk about, or do you have any private things that you're using AI towards?
Well, we do a lot of proofreading, for example. We do the NATO cybersecurity proofreading, and one of the companies I deal with addresses that. So using AI proofreading, which is one of our business aspects, enables us to double check, triple check any human lapses. So, for example, there's always cognitive bias when you write something or read something. You're predicting what you're going to read based on your existing understanding of the narrative as you flow through it. So you will not actually see mistakes because your brain is filling in the gaps and the holes in the grammar and the spelling and the syntax. And that gives AI a pair of eyes that humans, because of our heuristics, our tendency to take shortcuts by our programming and by our, shall we say, prejudiced cognitive bias towards expected outcomes. AI takes some of that away. So if you like to see AI and humans as being in synergy, basically it makes us much smarter and much more productive. For example, depending on what aspect of what I do, I'm 5 to 10 times more productive with AI now than I ever was before the advent of AI. And so therefore computers for once are not going to increase our workload. They're going to either increase our capacity or reduce our workload, which is a positive. So if you look at it from an economic point of view, Britain is way behind Germany and France in terms of productivity. Despite the fact that Germans and the French don't work as many hours as we do, productivity isn't just how hard individuals work, it's also how well equipped they are, how efficient the machinery is, the investment in the infrastructure is, roads, rails, and so on, railways, and so on and so forth. So AI gives us, we're a remarkably advanced technological nation in terms of our innovation, gives us an opportunity to close that productivity gap quickly. If we ignore the AI opportunity and see it as a threat, we will, rather than being taken over by our own AI, we'll be taken over by somebody else's.
Right, okay.
Just very briefly, James, how can AI promote Britain across the world?
Well, we use a lot of generative AI. To return to Helena's original question, we use a lot of AI to help with creative industries. So now we can use a company called Speechify, for example, and they give us AI voices. So we save hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of pounds in terms of producing polished sound effects and AI characters with a narrator. So we recently did a wonderful book for a gentleman, Frank Armour, and we helped him with the voiceovers and created or brought his world of Amorphia to life. And we could produce a chapter with AI sound effects and characters within 2 to 3 hours, which was unprecedented. And of course, the saving in terms of producing generative AI, for example, documentaries to promote British brands or whatever else, we can use AI to produce content at a much lower cost, much faster rate, and therefore reduce the overhead and reduce the barrier to entry, which therefore gives us a competitive advantage in terms of media, which is an area in which Britain is still relatively competitive.
Perfect. So James, finally, how can people get in contact with you?
Well, I run several companies and collaborate with others. So we run Star Ghostwriters that deals with fiction, non-fiction. We can be contacted simply via the Star Ghostwriters website. We also do a lot of help for PhD students, people coming to this country and to other English-speaking universities via your PhD supervisor.
Okay.
Thank you. It's so interesting.
Yep. Thank you for your time this afternoon. We will have you back again because
Yeah.
we've got 1,000 questions we go. But thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank
so
you for
now
having
we're
me.
just going to take a short break, and then we will have our regular contributor and guest, Philip Sykes from the British School of Excellence. Stay tuned.
So interesting. Absolutely loved that. But now we have Philip Sykes, our great friend from the British School of Excellence. Welcome.
Good to see you both. How are you?
Good to see you. We're really well. We've had an exciting guest on sharing lots and lots about AI. It's been so interesting. And
Absolutely.
we're just wondering how it works with etiquette. Obviously, it's about maintaining pleasant and respectful environments, isn't it? And how AI works with you, if that makes sense. If you'd like to share some top tips.
It's a very nerve-wracking topic, I think, for a lot of people. But I often like to look at the AI as IA, intelligent assistance, because artificial intelligence has taken the world by storm, and it will continue to do so. Now, I truly believe that AI or IA, whatever way you want to sort of put this, will definitely be a huge support. For example, creating AI-powered coaches, which would be your virtual etiquette coaches, which will give you that real-time feedback and stimulate social scenarios for practice, for example. For example, we could do tailored training based on individuals' needs and cultural contexts, and ensuring that the relevant and appropriate sort of guidance and steering is given. We could bring this into, let's look at it from a social point of view, social learning on an interactive sort of level where, heaven forbid, but for example, if we created social robots, model, proper behavior and engage users in a sort of an interactive learning and offering feedback in that sort of scenario. Again, I truly believe this is possible with the emotional intelligence, and in developing that, despite the fact that EQ is something that we develop as individuals, but AI will be able to analyze emotions from text and voice and your facial expressions, your body language, and offering insights to really enhance possibly that empathy and support. And then one of the big things that we face in this world is those cultural differences. And this is something we talk about as cultural intelligence or cultural professionalism. And that's very much fundamental in the world. We live in a small world, but as I always say, I wouldn't want to paint it. But it very much is about that cross-cultural training and giving people the opportunity to understand the norms and the etiquette for international interactions and better relationships. And then the final one that I feel that could really give us a huge amount of sort of confidence and create a foundation is the online side of things. How do we behave toward each other? And funny enough, in The Economist today, there is a huge article, I can't remember which page it's on, but it's literally about how especially a lot of the youngsters that went through that wretched period of going through either A-levels or university in this country, and I know it speaks for all countries, that their understanding of how to connect and interact with one another in this virtual world, but not only that, in person. So that for me, both the audience, Helena and Ian, I feel that the intelligence assistance side of things can really support us going forward.
And Philip, a lot of the time there's fear over this whole aspect, isn't there? The fear of what artificial intelligence may mean, the fear of will I lose my job because of it, will I understand this whole thing as well? Do you have etiquette applications that overcomes fear?
Oh, very much so, Ian. Again, when we go down the route of within our organisation, and this is where I truly believe that the British School of Excellence, the British School of Etiquette, differentiates itself quite strongly in the fact that we focus heavily on understanding the importance to build your emotional intelligence, to build your etiquette and manners, but more than just, it's very much a mindset and a vision and a focus and a philosophy of how you show up every day. And when you create good habits for yourself, I know for a fact that you can overcome fear in every sense of the word.
For me, and I think you were touching on it, and I know that James Prince also mentioned it as well, I don't think AI is quite there when it comes to empathy. So if we were using AI with everything we were doing, that whole etiquette thing that you so marvellously teach, there'd be no cohesion. And so I think we're sort of at this, do you feel we're at a stage where we're just sort of small steps to see how we can all bring it into our business? But, you know, it's quite extraordinary, isn't it? How do you feel? Do you feel the same with the empathy? I
totally agree with that, absolutely. Empathy is something that really only, in my opinion, only human beings can take on board and learn. That is something we can learn if you're not an empathetic person through the right sort of structure and programs and courses, for example, that we incorporate into our journey of sort of programs is very much something that we give people these tools to learn about empathy and be more empathetic. But having said that, Helena, I actually agree with you. It's important that the AI tools are designed and used ethically, and this is very, very important. And we need to respect people's privacy. We need to understand cultural differences, and we mustn't sort of become complacent. And we must understand that AI is there to complement rather than replace that human interaction and learning. Let's face it, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, no one will be able to replace that H2H, that human-to-human connection. And that I know for a fact. And on that note, this is the key area that we as human beings need to very much focus on. And I truly insist and believe that all schools globally should make the study of EQ, the study of manners and etiquette and cultural differences part of their curriculum and make it a major.
Philip, do you ever worry at times, though, that basically artificial intelligence can take over from just communicating ourselves? Is there not that concern in your head as well?
Very much so, Ian. Very much so. But at the end of the day, the H2H, the human-to-human connection, will always win. It will always win. But it's already taking over human interaction. It's already taking over. In other words, it's squandering and it's pushing people back. In other words, people have lost the confidence. They don't even know how to communicate without the sort of artificial intelligence or intelligence assistance. And that's very, very scary.
We don't want Elon Musk convincing us that AI is going to take over from humans. I think that's the feeling I got a little while ago. And I just think that your skill base is essential. And I can really see how you can teach people how to use AI with etiquette, which is, you know, talking and getting on. That's something. Is that something you offer at the moment, or maybe you will add to your roster?
No, very much so. We very much had a focus on giving people those quintessential tools that the AI just complements their skill base, whereas the human interaction, the human connection is their golden bullet at the end of the day.
And finally, Philip, as always, how can people get in contact with you today?
please visit our website, which is 3ws.thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Reach out to us at hello@thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. And on our website, we have a WhatsApp number where you may make contact, and we will endeavor to connect with you as soon as possible through that WhatsApp number. We tend to get back to people within reasonable time, and obviously we stick, give or take, pretty much to the UK working hours, which is from 8:30 a.m. to roughly 6 p.m. British summertime at the moment.
Philip, thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time this afternoon. As always, a font of wonderful information. Thank you.
Take care.
Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there we go. Another show.
Another
very,
show.
very interesting. We've got
I
royal
love
facts.
it.
We've got artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I think I needed some
Super.
intelligence myself this afternoon.
Oh, you're learning. We're
I'm
all learning. We're all
Oh,
learning.
I hope so. I hope so. Anyway, I think in reality, it's time to close down the show now. So for me, Ian Pelham Turner.
And from me, Helena Chard.
I'd just like to thank, as always, Helena Castrati for ARB UK TV for hosting the show in the first place, and for Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck from USA Global TV and Radio for her involvement in actually putting the show out in America at the same time. So from the two of us, have a great week. We'll see you again next week. Bye for now.